the government objective of limiting the inflation at 6%, data from the central bank suggests that inflation is nearing 8% in the country. Experts suggest the actual inflation in the market has surpassed a double digit. The rise in price of petroleum products has led to increase in price of several goods in the market. Good morning, I'm Chitrakar, and these are the headlines of the hour. Parties in the ruling alliance work on the change of ministers, even as discussions are rife whether it is appropriate to appoint new ministers for a short period of time. Public at the receiving end of skyrocketing prices. Despite government claims of limiting inflation to 6%, actual rate could have touched a double digit. Tens of thousands of protesters rally across the United States to call for stricter gun laws in the wake of two mass shootings. President Biden backs the demand. And Nepal suffer a 4-1 defeat against Kuwait. The loss has ended Nepal's hopes of progressing to the AFC Asian Cup. Barely 6 months remain for the term of House to expire, while it's only been 11 months since the formation of the present government. However, parties in the ruling alliance are working on the change of ministers, while discussions are rife regarding whether it is appropriate to appoint new ministers for a short period of time. There is a constitutional obligation to hold the provincial and general election by November-December this year. It means that barely 6 to 8 months of the term of the present government remains. Despite such a scenario, the exercise to change the ministers has been intensifying. The parties in the ruling alliance, meanwhile, have reached a mindset of changing the ministers, citing their obligation to manage too many ministerial aspirants in the party. The parties had won the confidence of these aspirants, promising them ministerial berths under rotational policy. The recent political development in the ruling Unified Socialist, where the party had to backtrack from its decision to changing the ministers, has sent quite a few ripples in the other parties in the ruling coalition. In the meantime, Nepali Congress and Maoist Centre, according to sources, have reached an understanding of reshuffling the cabinet, as per which Maoist Centre will keep the home while Congress will shift to finance. Meanwhile, general public and political analysts have not appreciated all the ongoing efforts for the change in cabinet ministers. The government has a target of limiting inflation at 6%. The data by Nepal Rashtra Bank, meanwhile, suggests that inflation is nearing 8%. However, the actual inflation in the market has surpassed a double digit. The government is inclined towards hiking prices of petroleum products, attributing the rise in price of fuel to the war between Russia and Ukraine rather than focusing on inflation control. Prithvinder Maharjan of Patan Lalitpur is among the rest of the consumers who have been hit hard by the government's failure to control inflation. There are over a dozen government bodies for market inspection and control and have remained idle, contributing to the high inflation. The consumers, meanwhile, are compelled to bear the brunt amid the government's lackluster import policy. The rate of exchange in the country has also exceeded the target of Nepal Rashtra Bank. The bank had a target of 6.5% inflation for the ongoing fiscal year, while it has already reached 7.87%. The lentil that was priced at 90 rupees per kilogram last year has now reached 160 rupees. Meanwhile, government data show that the price has increased only by 25%. This has hinted that the inflation in the country has gone out of government's control. The freight charge that was 2 rupees per kilogram from Birganj to Kathmandu has increased by 1 rupee, which is 50% increase. Within the span of 1 year, the price of a bag full of rice has increased by 300 rupees, sugar by 20 rupees per kg and lentils by 90 to 100 rupees per kilogram, among others. On the contrary, data by NRB indicates 25% price hike on these items, which further hints that inflation has surpassed government data. Government has been delaying around 500 million rupees due payments to the bird flu-stricken farmers. The criteria set for minor and marginalized farmers as grant amount has been stranded in the Council of Ministers for the past 5 months. The concerned departments have turned a deaf ear to the plight, even as farmers of 14 districts are on the verge of quitting their occupation. Krishna Raut, a permanent resident of Chhapa currently living in Tarkeshwar, Kathmandu, had been running a farm business with ducks and chicken. However, the farm has remained empty for the past 4 months as the government culled more than 500 birds off his farm due to the threat of bird flu. Raut has faced hard time in returning to the business as he incurred a loss of over 700,000 rupees as the government grant has failed to reach him as of now. Government authorities have failed to address the issue even as the farmers are on the verge of leaving the farming industry while many have already left the business. This is just a representative case out of hundreds of such farmers who have been affected by disease such as bird flu and the indifference of government authority to assist them with grants. Infected birds are destroyed before the disease gets spread. Farmers inform the government authority as soon as the disease is detected, and birds in farms are destroyed by government authority with the pledge of providing 70% relief grant of the total investments of farmers. Prior to this, relief packages were given on the basis of Bird Flu Control Directive. However, the grant is now given on the basis of Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Act. Farmers have been deprived of their grants due to the delay in upholding the criteria of grant from Council of Ministers. Time now for our segment, Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
Here's the question: why is there delay in providing relief to the farmers? Your options are A, not in the priority, B, not understanding their problems, and C, no genuine data. Voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. In our Public Voice segment, we had asked in several provinces what's their take on the never-ending delay in delivery of course books at schools. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
Public Voice.
प्राइभेट विद्यालयहरुमा समयमै पाठ्यपुस्तक पुग्नु तर सार्वजनिक विद्यालय सामुदायिक विद्यालयमा समयमा पाठ्यपुस्तक नपुग्नु भनेको चाहिँ यो चाहिँ एकदमै लापरवाही हो।
सरकारी पक्षबाट नै यो चाहिँ नियमित प्रक्रिया हो भनेर समयमा व्यवस्थापन गर्ने प्रयत्न गर्नु भने नहुने कुरा होइन।
विद्यार्थी संख्या धेरै छन्, पाठ्यपुस्तक कम छाप्छ।
समयमै किताब बनाइदिनु भएदेखि यस्तो समस्या आउने थिएन।
पोलिसी मेकिङ लेभलमा रहेका मान्छेहरुको गम्भीर लापरवाही
सबैले ध्यान नपुर्याएर
Time now for sports update.
Sports news.
A second successive defeat means Nepal's hopes of progressing to the AFC Asian Cup have met a sour fate. Team Nepal suffered a 4-1 defeat against Kuwait in their second match of the qualifiers. Kuwait maintained pressure from the beginning of the match played at Jabir Al Ahmed Stadium in Kuwait City. Fahad Al-Rashidi put Kuwait ahead in the 28th minute of the match, while Yusuf Nasser scored a brace as he found at the back of the net in the 48th and the 70th minute before Mubarak Al-Faneni added the fourth 3 minutes later. Nepal head coach Abdullah Al-Muntairi had lost his consciousness at the touchline and was given primary treatment on the field before being taken to the hospital. Al-Muntairi in his social media post has said that he is now feeling better. Darshan Gurung scored a late consolation for Nepal in the additional time. It was Nepal's first goal against Kuwait in 40 years. Prior to this, YB Khale had scored against Kuwait in the Asian Games of 1982. Nepal will now play Indonesia in their last match of the tournament on Wednesday. ICC Cricket World Cup League 2 clash between Nepal and the United States of America has ended in a tie. Debutant Adil Ansari saved Nepal from a defeat which looked almost certain at one point of time in the match. Having lost their first match because of a poor batting performance against Oman, Nepal displayed an improved display against host USA. Nepal won the toss and elected to bat, where they were bowled out for 274 runs in 49.2 overs. 3 batters scored half centuries for the visitors. Openers Kushal Bhutel and Asif Sheikh added 56 runs for the first wicket partnership. Kushal scored 19 while Asif added 61 runs. Dev Khanal contributed 54 runs while Rohit Paudel added 62. Debutant Adil scored a quick-fire 36 runs from 24 deliveries. Rusty Theron was the pick of the American bowlers with 4 wickets. In reply, the USA were restricted to 274 runs for the loss of 6 wickets in their 50 overs. Stephen Taylor was impressive with the bat as he scored 114 runs while skipper Monank Patil added 85. The USA team required 6 runs from the last over of the match for a victory. However, Adil picked 2 wickets in the 50th over while giving away 5 runs and took the match into an interesting tie. The debutant had 3 wickets to his name, while Sompal Kami and skipper Sandeep Lamichhane shared a wicket apiece. Nepal will now play Oman on Tuesday. That's all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.